Welcome to Hey Thanks. We're your hosts,
Ivy Miller.
and Lauren Hawkins. We're just two girls talking about life, love, and all the struggles in between.
We'll act as your best friend, keep you company, motivate you, and reassure you that you're not in this alone. We're certainly not experts, but sometimes you just want a little unsolicited advice.
Hey, thanks, Ivy.
Hey, thanks, Lo. This episode is brought to you by Beach Washed. And our topic for the week is settling. Settling,
yeah.
settling.
And how to not do it.
Yeah. But how do you know if this is good for you and you're being realistic? Right? That's what they say.
I mean, right. It's like, oh, no, but be realistic about things. Don't, like, have this head in the clouds kind of mindset where people are like, you can't overreach.
What? Who's people saying that?
Be realistic at what point you are in your life. It's like,
People
fuck
say that?
Yeah.
Yikes.
I mean,
No.
a lot of people settle. So someone's got to be telling them to do that.
So can you break down what is a settle? What would you consider as a settle?
Good question. I would consider settling having your non-negotiables and saying something's put in front of you, whether it's like a relationship, a job, and you're like, you know what? I said I wasn't going to take a job that offered me under $50,000 a year. And you know what? I'm going to take the one it's $30,000. And you know what? And you kind of like rationalize with yourself about how it'll be okay.
How I didn't really want that to begin with.
But you know what? I'll manage and it'll probably work out for the best. Or in a relationship, you're like, I am really attracted to men with dark hair who are over the height of 6 foot and sing in Spanish. And you say, but you know what, this blonde guy with blue eyes and who's 4'11".
Okay, we don't
He'll
need
settle.
to. Don't out me like that. Leave me alone.
I'm not outing you, I'm outing myself.
I didn't know you liked guys that sang in Spanish.
Yeah. Well, who doesn't?
It's true.
Who doesn't?
That's funny. Well, that's a good point. Yeah, you can't be out here settling your face off. That's just a recipe for unhappiness. Career-wise, relationship-wise, money-wise, but how do you know when it's good enough? Is good enough is not good enough, because what you end up getting is better than what you expect always, right?
I mean, that's an interesting point. You could really convince yourself into a lot of things, I think. When you're presented with this like good enough option, you're like, it's good enough. Of course. Why would I turn something down rather than not having anything at all?
Ooh, okay. I have a good example of this. I got offered this show to do with some friends, which a really cool network was behind. But I didn't love the premise. But I was like...
Of the entire show?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I was like, oh, it's a cool opportunity. And I did it anyways, even though it wasn't like a full body yes. It was like, okay, that's cool. Yeah. Like, that's not necessarily what I would have written for myself, but yeah, cool. And I did it. It was a great learning experience, and it ended up getting canceled. So I think if it's not fully a full body yes, either it'll get taken out of your life or...
Like whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think eventually things just shake out like that, right?
Yeah. And also, too, it's like these situations where I'm like, I've sort of convinced myself into them. And then, they end up not working out. And I'm like really upset about it.
What do you mean you convinced yourself into them?
The good enough. It checks 65% of what I need.
Okay.
Good enough.
Ugh. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know that, but you catch yourself doing it.
I
Like,
know.
you end up being in these relationships or career situations or situations in general where you're like, well, this is okay. You know, how do you avoid that?
Well, I think part of it is like a lot of us, I think we're raised on good enough. Like our grandparents were the good enough phase.
What do you mean by that?
Like, you got a good job, keep it for 40 years.
Right.
You're in a marriage. It's good enough.
Yeah.
He takes you out to dinner once a month, tells you he loves you every 2. You should be happy.
Yeah.
That's a win-win for everybody.
Oh.
So it's like, I think we're like getting away from this good enough. And so it's still like a little bit something that we're challenged with and like don't totally understand how to say no to.
Yeah.
Because now we have all this opportunity and all these options where we actually can have like most of the things that meet our like criteria of fulfilling us in whatever way. And so there's this, it's again coming back to the scarcity mindset
of being afraid that you're not going to find something better.
right.
Okay. But
That's what I
also,
would think.
what about grass is always greener? Because that can be a slippery slope.
The flip-flop, yeah, to the back and forth, right? Well, that's a narcissist.
What do you mean?
They're like, well, I'm good enough and I can just have whatever I want. Actually, that doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't. What are you talking about? Oh, no. You know what I've been doing recently is like the past few situations that I've found myself in, I've convinced myself that I don't need looks. And that's tough because I'm such what I'm attracted to, and I've gotten flack from this from my girlfriends because they're like, what even is your type? But I don't even have a type. It's like energy, you know, like if you meet up with somebody and there's like this like push and pull in your eyes, and I'm like, whoo, yeah, that's what I want. And so it starts with the energy. Then from there, we're talking personality. You got a good personality? Great, sweet. Then from there, you know, there's all these different things. And then when it breaks it down and you get like 5 things deep and you're like, this person's really cool. They're fun and cool. But wait, I'm not fully attracted to them. And then you're like, but they've got all the other things. Some people go, okay, attraction first, then this, then that, then hobbies, then interests, then but for some reason attraction was like 4th on my list. But I found myself making out with these people that I'm like, no thanks. And that's not true.
The toads, the frogs.
No, I don't know. But it's gotten better. It's definitely gotten better.
Well, I think, like you said, you're okay with just admitting that that's something that's really important to you.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, that's my biggest issue with the dating apps. That's it. Because I'm like, I should give this person a chance, but then it's also like I can't feel their energy through a telephone, having never seen them, and like what their little quirks are, and like
you can do like text banter.
Oh, I'm horrible.
Yeah,
at
you
that.
are really
I'm
bad at that.
Really bad at that. I have zero game over
Never
text.
mind.
So that doesn't work well. So it's like, yeah, that energy and that attraction, and like we've talked about, when you're on the other side of the room at a party, you want to be like, look at him.
Yeah.
Look at him.
I get that.
Yeah.
I do.
And if you don't have that initially, you probably aren't going to grow it.
No, you're not going to grow it.
It's not going to just blossom after a
It's
few years.
not an amoeba.
You're not going to be like, one day.
No.
Wow, today.
What, the attraction?
Yeah.
But people argue that.
I know. And that's the thing. What do you think about that? Like, can you grow attraction?
I think you can.
But you have to
Do
be
I want to? No. I want to be initially attracted to somebody. That's fair.
But let me argue the other side of this.
Okay.
What if you're attracted to something other than their looks? What if you're like so attracted to their personality?
I am. You know what?
So you're saying it's a full package?
Yeah. But, okay, objectively, the looks portion It's really got to be there for me. But I will tell you what has bamboozled me off my seat before is when they're thoughtful. Someone that thinks 5 steps ahead of me or 3 steps ahead, I'm like, whew, I'm all riled up. My goodness. Because I do that. I think that's my love language.
Oh.
Yeah.
So your love language is like
thoughts of kindness, or what is it? Movement with kindness. Acts of kindness.
There's acts of service.
Acts of service.
Acts of kindness. There's gift giving.
No, it's not gift giving. It's being thoughtful.
Okay.
And physical touch. Big physical touch.
Okay.
Real, even with all my friends, I need to snuggle them up.
I like to be pod.
Yeah.
I call it pod.
It creeps me out when you say that. It reminds me of furries.
Okay, that's creepy.
You would be into that, you freak.
Yeah, well, I won't use the P word anymore.
No, I like being peed. That doesn't work either.
That doesn't work either. I don't like that. Don't do that to me. Okay, so I see. So you're saying it's all wrapped up in one. Because there are people that just, let me tell you, they roll into a room and you're like, who is that?
Yeah, that's hot.
Like,
I like that.
the energy is there. We all know that energy. And it's infectious.
Yeah.
But in that capacity, I don't think the looks matter as much. It is literally an energy that someone has.
Yeah.
But I guess that you're saying it's all wrapped up in one. I guess
don't
I'm
know.
trying to tease those two out.
I see what you're saying. You know what I realized? I was actually working with a 2B magnetic coach. I do 2B magnetic. I've done it for 6 years. It's Lacey Phillips's program. It's online. It's awesome. Check it out if you haven't. We've mentioned it a lot on this show.
Yeah, it's great.
But I was meeting with one of the coaches and I was like, I want to be ripped off my seat, fully attracted, hair on fire to someone. And she's like, okay, what is that to you? And I was like, just, you just look at them and you're attracted to them. And she's like, okay, break it down more. And I was like, I can't. And so she's made me make a list of all the people that I've been viscerally attracted to. And I created a through line with unavailability. And I was like, oh my gosh, that is so scary that's what it was.
Oh, they're all unavailable.
People I was disgustingly attracted to were unavailable. And I tracked it through relationships that I've had. So like, I was like, with the person in the beginning. And then once they started to show up more for me, I lost attraction. How sick is that? Sick and twisted, not sick, cool.
Yeah, no, not so cool.
So,
you know what? I'm glad you have a thing because I feel like I have all the bad relationship things. This
well,
just
I'm
makes me feel a
fixing
little
it,
better.
and I am perfect now.
Okay, good.
Well,
I'm fixing it, and I am perfect now. Okay.
No, but
it's
if
good
you
to know.
You got to break down your attraction piece because there's sneaky little creepies hanging in there like that. And now that I know that, now I went on a date with this guy who was so thoughtful. And I was just like, whoa. I felt that viscerally attracted thing. And I wasn't necessarily like, ooh, his looks, but I'm not really like that with anybody. But once he showed the thoughtfulness, the thoughtful component, I was like, whoa, my goodness. Woo! So maybe that's my thing now. But I'll tell you what isn't my thing anymore is unavailability because I unblocked that and got rid of it because yuck, ew, I'm not. That's bad. I don't want that.
That's amazing that you were able to like full circle that. I didn't even actually put 2 and 2 together with that date that you were like, yeah, because you were telling me how it made you so attracted to him, about how you thought everything out and anticipated needs that you didn't even know you had.
Yeah.
That's hot.
Man.
Yeah. Yeah.
But and I am happy to see that now because before I was like, I don't know what I'm attracted to. But now I'm like, no, I know. I can see these things and it's made it easier not to settle. Because I totally like other guys I've dated, I've been like, well, they'll grow into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I saw one of those things on Instagram where they interview the old ladies, like the 90-year-olds that are like, give marital advice. And one of them was like, make sure the person you marry is exactly who you want them to be in 10 years right now.
Oh, I love that.
Because
Wise old ladies.
yeah, oh yeah. But
They
it's
know.
just so easy to be like, he'll get better. I'll teach him. Or she'll get better. We'll change. We'll grow together. Ugh.
Oh, it's so easy to say that. And again, the excuses and the settling, that's all that is. Just making excuses like, oh, yeah, no, things will change. It's like, things are not changing. They're not changing. People don't want to change unless they want to. And they rarely do.
And I found myself in a few situations like that where I'll date these guys and I give a little bit too much information or something, or they're like chameleons or something, where they put on their best act. And my dad has warned me about this, where they put on their best showman outfit. And I'm like, oh my gosh, they're so cool, blah, blah, blah. And then, a year and a half goes by and that wears off and I see who they really are. And I'm like, what, who the hell are you? This is not what I agreed to.
It's like gold-plated jewelry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Oof. This is a sterling silver on the inside.
That's a great example.
Not what I want. Speaking of, that's kind of a relationship chameleon. And some people are relationship chameleons.
What do you mean? Oh, that they change for people?
Yeah, I used to be.
Really?
Well, I'd be like, skydiving. I like skydiving too.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Lauren.
It just sounds so chaotic on
She's
this
gothic
podcast.
next week. She comes back. I love the drums. She comes back. I'm really into puzzling now.
I'm like really into puzzling.
Hip hop, it's my favorite genre.
Insane Clown Posse is my new favorite band.
ICP.
I'm obsessed with them.
I've been dying to go to a Juggalo festival.
I really want to go. Ivy, are you coming?
Absolutely.
Can't wait.
In fact, the next episode we're doing in Juggalo.
We're actually doing it from the festival.
Gosh, I can't
You guys should
wait.
listen in for that. Yeah, it's perfect time of year too. It's really hot, so you just melt off all the makeup and then you look really scary.
Perfect time of year for a Juggalo festival.
Oh, yeah.
I actually hear they're quite nice.
The festivals or the people?
The people.
I do too.
I hear they're
quite lovely.
Well, I hear it's like a like
community.
everybody is rejected, so they go to these things and then they're really accepted there.
Yeah.
That's just what I've heard. I've also heard that
Sounds
people
fun.
fling poop on the stages with it on fire.
Feces throwing.
So it changes.
On fire? Sounds like the hospital.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I get feces thrown at me once a week.
Really?
Yeah.
Lauren sent me a photo of this carriage when you walk into the festival. Apparently, it's the hospital.
It feels like a festival when I walk into work most days. I'm like, yeah.
When you walk into the hospital, they have this carriage on display. She sent me a photo, and I was like, cool carriage, Lauren. She was like, no, that is what they used to use for the ambulance. And I was like, what?
It's the ambulance from 1836, I believe.
Wow.
Yeah.
She's working at the
Horse-drawn.
oldest hospital in the
Country.
Thank you. Wow,
Yeah.
that just was like
really
pulling
something.
teeth getting that out of my mouth.
At the festival.
But anyways, back to settling. Gut. I say follow your gut. Because I've so many times been like, is this what I want? How do I know if it's what I want? You already know. If you're asking those questions, you know. You're just trying to buy time.
Well, and that's always a thing too when you're like seeking out the answers you want.
And when you're seeking, it's wrong.
Yeah, it's like you know what the answer is.
Yeah.
You want, you're going to like get the pull of that one friend who says what you want and you're like, yeah, totally.
She said it was a good idea to stay, so I'm going to stay.
So I'm going to do that.
When in reality, like when it's what you want, you'll know because it'll be better than what you want. Yeah. And also you're hoping they change somehow. I feel like that's a sign of settling.
Yeah, it is. Well, because you're like, I'll just stick with it long enough.
I was going to sneeze. Sorry.
Do
Continue.
it.
No,
you're
it's gone.
I'll just stick with it long enough.
Yeah, I'll stick it out.
And
see
long
if it
enough
changes.
is too long.
It doesn't change.
It doesn't change.
Fear of not finding someone else or scarcity mindset.
Yeah, and then like settling in jobs too. It's easy to do.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not good. Not the best, but good enough.
Yeah.
Yikes.
I mean, I've done the same thing like you said, where I've tried to put things on hold where I mean, to be honest, even in my like last long relationship, he would do this thing, and it was so aggressive. Like, just at the table at a restaurant, he would be like asking for bargains.
Oh gosh.
And it was
what?
It was like the worst.
Like, if I order 2 creme brulees, can I get them for the price of one?
Like, literally, I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to be.
Are you serious?
So embarrassing.
That is embarrassing.
Yeah. Or like
he would actually try to barter your
like,
food.
It would be like a joke, and I'd be like, I don't think this is funny, and no one thinks it's funny.
Oh, like a dad joke? Like,
yeah,
we hated the food. It's all gone.
You what, are you gonna give it to us for free now? We're just gonna run out of here. And I'm like, oh my God, are we running out of here? Like,
no.
so bad. Ugh, that was so bad.
Wait, but what does that have to do with settling?
I settled for that. I finally just started overlooking it, and I was like, it'll change. It never changed. It never changed. Nothing ever changed. Don't settle. Get out while you can.
Yeah.
And early.
Well, I feel like you get presented with the option and thing that you really want when it's your timing too. Divine timing.
Yeah. And then when you get out, honestly, it's like the most freeing thing. You're like, oh my God.
Get out of what?
Whatever the situation is.
Oh.
It's not like meeting your standards. Because like, if you just got to cut it.
Dump him, leave him, quit, move on, don't look back. If it's not exactly what you want, cut it.
Question for you.
Oh, what?
If you see one of your friends settling, do you say something?
Oh, no, you can't. Oh, hey, I think you're settling.
Yeah.
Your boyfriend sucks. Your job sucks.
Yeah.
And you're a loser.
Yeah. But it's like, oh my God, it's so hard to watch.
Yeah,
it's like the Titanic.
You can't, dude. We were literally just talking about this. You were saying that this guy was using you as a doormat, and I was like, are you going to see him again? And you're like, yes.
Maybe not.
Maybe not. But that
Maybe
is
not.
Settling.
Yeah, true. And it's like, whatever you say is not going
to
convince me. This is a great example.
Whatever you say is not going to convince me. That's why you just need to be there for them. And then guess what happens when you tell them, hey, your boyfriend sucks. They go, oh, really? Okay. And for those of you listening, I'm flipping off the camera right now.
She's flying the bird.
Because they don't care what you have to say. Love makes people go cuckoo.
Yeah, it's really wild
and
to watch.
People are going to do what they want to do no matter what. Although, however, I've started asking my friends their honest opinion because, man, I found myself in some weird situations when I was younger of like looking back, I'm like, why was I with that guy for so long? How come none of you said something?
Oh, yeah. And then you get that and you're like, what did you want me to say?
Yeah. I don't know. But it's all up to you.
You at that point?
No.
See, that's the hard part.
Yeah, that's the tough
So then
part.
either you're okay with watching your friend in it or you can't be around it.
Yeah.
So I guess when you start to see your friends around you dropping like flies, you know it's probably a bad situation.
Because it's a you thing or a them thing?
It's like, no.
Why are your friends dropping like flies?
If they're like, you know, you're in a relationship and they're watching the ship sinking and they're probably like, I can't be a part of this anymore.
Well, I would hope my friends would tell me before they drop like flies. I feel like I've got a pretty open communication with my friends about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I think that I'm good at taking accountability for things. Like, if someone's like, you did this, and I'm like, okay, let's break that down. What did I do? Tell me.
So I guess a big thing we're like harping on here is like when we were younger, these were a lot of things we were doing. Maybe a little more current for me, but we're working on that. When you're like in your early 20s and like, you know, you're in like one of your first relationships, it's hard to kind of like have the balls to get out of stuff or be like, you don't really have like a gauge of anything yet. And
Yeah.
so it's really
and you can't
tough.
teach that. It's because love is so blinding. Like my mom and dad, they are so into telling me what to do. They love it. They love doing it. And I love it. But for some reason, when the topic is about love, they just zip their lips and walk the other direction.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it's the weirdest thing.
That's so strange.
Because I think, my dad's afraid of like me choosing someone else over him, which that would never happen. But you know, let's let him believe it because it's quite nice. Anyways, I've learned a lot from that because I was in these relationships or in this specific relationship where I was like, I think I need to get out of this. And I said that in front of him, and he was just zooped, didn't say a thing.
Nothing.
And I was like, should I? And he was like, I don't know. And then I did, and then he was like, yeah, that was a good choice.
You're like, why didn't you tell me? I asked you.
Yeah.
So one of the things that drives me crazy is when your friends that are couples, you're like hanging out, and they're like, oh, you should just let us vet, like, you know, the people that you're dating. Like we know who you should be with. Or they're like, this person, and they try to like shove the person at you, and you're just like, just let it be. Let me make my own decisions. It's so tough, but I have a lot of couples do that. Or like, let me set you up. I mean, I guess that's not bad, but like, don't push it. If one date doesn't go well, don't try to make the marriage happen.
I don't know. All my couple friends are like, you'll know when you know.
That's healthy.
They're like, you will know when you know. And they're all like super in love with each other, which is cool. But you really can't force anything.
Can't force it.
Yeah, you don't want to. You want to. And that is a big one with the opinions giving. Because I love my parents. But they just love. Then they're also very experienced in a lot of ways. But they love to give their opinions when it's not asked for. And I've been trying to tell them that kind of pushes people away. And they don't really do it so much anymore. But like, I do it. I've noticed I do it just because they did it to me. And then you notice you're doing it to your friends. But you don't want to like, I don't know. You don't want to tell people stuff that they didn't ask for.
Yeah. Unsolicited advice.
Yeah. We love that. You should, you know, what you should do is, you know, what you got to do is, it's just not good. Settling. So, I mean, moral of the story is get your self-worth up.
Yeah.
Know what you want.
Yeah.
Don't accept anything less because what you want is going to be better than what you expected.
Yeah.
And remember, the universe has 3 answers. Yes, not yet, and I have something better.
Literally say that to myself every day.
Write it on your mirror. Stick it on your forehead.
Yeah. Get a little tattoo.
Get a tattoo of it. And
have I showed you my new tattoo?
No. Show me your new tattoo right now.
I'll show you later.
Suck. Okay.
Might have something to do with that saying.
Did you? Did you? Oh my gosh. Okay, well, we'll talk to you guys later.
Words to live by.
Big love. Mwah. See ya.
Bye, guys.
Mwah.